Hello everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter and welcome to my weekly episode. It's episode number 245 for December the 12th, 2023, and we're getting ever closer to Christmas and the Georgia Retreat. But first, let's take a look at what I have been up to. So, I have finished this. This was one of the projects that was in the Missouri Star Quilt Christmas box. And don't worry, this isn't a spoiler alert because we've already shown this. So have other channels as well. At first, when I saw the colors of this, because it was a charm pack, I wasn't too impressed because pink is not one of my favorite colors. I don't mind aqua and red, of course, but these are not a color combination I would have ever intuitively thought of putting together. But I did like the design of this particular table runner, so I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this and just see how it turns out. And you know, I'm loving these colors. In fact, I'm loving them so much, I'm really seriously thinking of doing another project at some point down the road using this color combination because I think it's stunning. Who would have thought, right? But there you go. Another example of you should think outside of your wheelhouse, you know, really. So I did that. One thing that I'm a little tiny disappointed in, and it wasn't my fault, I followed the pattern exactly and never thought about it until after I got the binding onto it that it would cut off the points on my stars on the edges and the sides. Now, that was the way the pattern was designed. However, I think if I'd put another thin white border, say unfinished 1.5 inches, all the way around, the stars then would float a little bit more. You'd see the points and there'd be plenty of room for the binding. Something to note if I ever do this pattern again in the future. But your eye doesn't really notice that. If I hadn't pointed it out to you, you may or may not have seen that. It doesn't take away from the table runner. And if I ever give this as a gift to somebody who's a non-quilter, they won't know the difference either. So this is a close-up of the quilting. I am really pleased with the way the quilting came out on this. This was a pattern I had on Lucy. I don't know what it's called, but Stars and Swirls, I just love it. And Lucy did a wonderful job of doing all of this. Now, if you don't know who Lucy is my long arm machine. It's not a person. It's what she's called, Lucy. And those of you that have been here for a while know exactly what I mean when I say I've done it on Lucy. But it turned out really nice, I think. And then there was enough pieces left over, and this was suggested in the pattern as well that came from Missouri Star Quilt, that you could make this oversized, they called it, pot holder. Now, they did provide you with some of that insulated fleece. One of the common names is Insulbright, I think. This was Bosal. And I don't think I've ever used Bosal before, but anyways, I followed the directions, and at first I thought, geez, this is going to be really thick, because they want you to use 2 layers of the Bosal and a layer of batting between those. So you've got your quilt top, or potholder top, you've got a layer of Bosal, then you have batting, then you have Bosal, then you have your backing fabric. And it made a quilt sandwich that was fairly thick. But I decided to go through with it, and it worked out fine. Once I quilted it, and I just did straight line quilting on my domestic machine, it's a small piece. Once I got that on it, put the binding on it, it compressed it down, but it is still thick. And yeah, it needs to be, right, if you're going to put a hot pot on this. So those 2 items are kind of a set, and I don't know whether they will be gifted or not. I have them sort of as a reserved set. Let me take some sip here. I think I'm going to keep them to the side. We have the neighbors coming over for a drink on this coming weekend. We have told them no gifts. But you know how people, you tell them no gifts and they show up with a hostess gift, you know, kind of a thing. So if they do, I'm going to be prepared. This is going to be sitting in a bag, ready to go to give to them. But if not, I don't know if my sister would like this or not. I don't imagine this is in my sister's color scheme either. I don't know how my sister feels about pink. But you know, anyways, I have it. It's there. And someone will get it someday. And then I made this, and I called this the Granny Bag. It's another Missouri Star quilt project that was in the Christmas box. I think I showed this as well earlier when we were opening up our boxes as the ones we've opened up so far. And if not, avert your eyes. I did not like the fabric. I'm not into floral prints. But I did like the design. Well, actually, what I liked wasn't so much the design, was the fact that I have never worked with wooden handles before. And this came with these wooden handles. And there's a little magnetic clasp on the inside of those two handles to hold them together. I have done magnetic clips before in a bag, but I have never done these kind of handles. So I thought, excuse me, let's give it a try and see how this works out. And I figured too, since I'm not that much of a fan of the fabric, that you know, didn't matter if I blew it. Well, you know, I kind of like it. Now, the sashing pieces were not included, although there was enough fabric left over. I could have made sashing from the fabric that was there, but I just grabbed basically a large scrap and cut the little sashing pieces down according to the pattern instructions. And I think it worked. It's kind of a mishmash of color in that as well. But it's a nice little lined bag, purse, I don't know. It's a granny bag. Will I ever use it? Probably not. You know what this would be really nice for? Possibly a little girl. I think the little girl would like this. But whatever. I did it. And no, not yet. And that takes, you know, there's a few other projects in the Christmas bag. Not going to tell you what they are. And there was one more that I did, and maybe I will show that next week, because I think by then that one will have been revealed. Okay, so let's get back to me, and let's talk about, yeah, what has happened, what's next, what's new. I need more coffee. My throat's a little dry. Okay, sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, Wednesdays as usual. This Wednesday, we'll be doing it all day, as we always do. And the link for it is in the show notes below. If you've never been to one of our sew days, it's a come and go kind of thing. Come for whenever you want to, leave whenever you want to. Bring along a project and enjoy some fellowship with other like-minded people. This past weekend, Saturday, we had a pop-up sew day. It was great. There were more people there than I expected because, you know, it's December. People are in the full-fledged getting out there, getting your Christmas gifts, getting your house decorated, getting your food, you know, all that kind of stuff that happens at this time of the year. It's a busy time of the year. So I thought, well, at first I thought I wouldn't even bother to have one in December, but I didn't want to go a whole month without one. So I had it, and I had about 30 people at the height of it, which was pretty good. So either these people all have their Christmas shopping all done, everything's ready to go, and they're just waiting for the day, or they don't care. So either way, but I think a lot of people were working on possible Christmas gifts and things like that. So it was a great day to get, you know, on with those because, well, well, we got about a week and a half or so before Christmas. So yeah. So that was a good day. And we had a little incident, but I'm not going to get into it now because we got into it on Stephen and Walter Live, and I think I mentioned it yesterday on my vlog as well, so we don't need to flog a dead horse kind of a thing. Moving on, the Missouri Star Quilt Christmas box openings that I'm doing with Stephanie. We've already had number 1 and number 2. They went up on the 5th and the 10th of December. The next one will go up on the 15th of December as well. Now, there is some discussion around about spoiler alerts. Okay, look. There are people who have opened all the gifts up as soon as they got them. In some cases, that was November. Okay? There's others that are doing it by the rules. Yeah. And Stephanie and I are doing it in groups of 5 or whatever. If you're afraid that your surprise is going to be spoiled, then don't watch any of the videos. As soon as you hear Missouri Star Quilt Christmas Box come out, don't watch it. The onus is on you. It is not on me or any of the other creators to keep you in suspense. Okay? Really? And when you think about it, is it the end of the world if you had a bit of a spoiler for it? Really? Pick the mountain you want to die on. And if you saw my vlog yesterday, you know what I'm alluding to here as well. And I'm not going to get into that whole discussion again. So anyways, yep, that's coming up. And we've had several comments, well, actually quite a few comments where people seem to like this format of us opening 5 at a time. And of course, we've planned it so that we open 5 at a time at the end of a cycle or whatever you want to call it. Like, in other words, we don't open up 5 on the first day. We open up 5 on the 5th day. So 1 to 5 were opened on December 5th. Okay, so we're not opening them in advance, put it that way. So anyways, that's our way too of, trying not to spoil the surprise. But again, really? Are we 6? No. Okay. We did open, though, the Kawartha Quilting Santa sack on So Chatty last week. You saw our reactions to all of those items in there. It's a different setup. They don't do it as an advent calendar kind of approach. Basically, you open up the bag and everything you can choose. If you want to open one gift each day, you can do that. They're not numbered or anything. Again, excuse me. Or you open them all at once, and we decided to open them all at once, and you can see our reactions in that. And so if you haven't seen that So Chatty yet, there is a link for it in the show notes. Check it out, and you can see what we got from that one as well. Those are the only 2 Christmas bags, boxes, whatever you want to call them, that I ordered this year. And I'll probably order the same 2 again next year as well. I know for sure that I will order the Missouri Star quilt one. It's expensive for me to order it, but I love it. And yes, I will pretty much sure that I will order the Kawartha Quilt Santa sack. Wasn't quite as impressive as the Missouri Star, but then again, they're a mom and pop shop. They don't have the facilities, nor the personnel, nor even the cash flow that Missouri Star Quilt has for putting one of these together. So, and it was still very, very delightful. I was really excited with it too. Although when you see the video of the Kawartha Quilting Santa box, I may not sound quite as enthused as I was with the Missouri Star, but that had nothing to do really with where it came from or anything like that. I am sorry. There is something crawling up my throat, and I don't know what it is. If claws start coming out of my mouth and grabbing at my eyes, maybe I have a problem. Anyways, yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, rambling on about Santa sacks and stuff. I wasn't disappointed. Okay, let me say that. And so I will order again. Okay, so something that was unexpected. One of the other items in the Missouri Star quilt box that we opened very early was this fabric called the Ugly Sweater. Actually, they called it the the Snuggly. That was it, the Snuggly sweater. And it was this really ugly fabric that, well, I thought it was really ugly. But it was a play on ugly Christmas sweaters. And they had a template and instructions for making a wall hanging using this fabric. And this is some of the blocks for that. Now, I do have it almost done. I'm binding the wall hanging today, so you will see the finished product next week. But at first I thought, yeah, it's applique. I wasn't looking really forward to cutting out all of these sweaters and appliquing them to the blocks and that kind of thing. And in fact, I don't think I would have done it. I think I would have done about 1 block and left it at that. But then I got thinking, could I do this on my embroidery machine? Which involves, basically, I'd have to scan in the template. Then I'd have to go into my digitizing software, Artistic Digitizer, which is a Janome product, and, design it. place my stitches where I want them and all that kind of stuff. And the ribbing that you see on these sweaters, on the cuffs, on the waistband, and on the neck, those had to be all programmed into the artistic digitizer as well. So I got working with this program, and I have to be honest, it's an expensive program. I think it cost me about $1,200 or $1,300 when I bought it a couple of years ago. I have used it very little because usually anything I want, I can find a design already made somewhere. But I thought, well, let's play with it. I spent pretty much the major part of a day doing various versions of this. I think the final version of this was version 15 by the time I got it designed. But I'm pleased with myself that I was able to do this. And as you notice, if you see the blocks, I have put stippling. I programmed that into the embroidery machine as well. So it's already quilted. I kind of modeled the design of this upon other in the hoop wall hangings I have done in the past. And yeah, so very pleased with it. But I thought you might want to know a little bit more about how I went about this. So I created a little video, about 5-6 minute video, just talking about the process of turning these appliques into an in the hoop applique, because I can do this now that I have figured out how I did this. I think I can pretty much do this with any design, any applique design I want in the future. So here's my little video clip or explanation of all of this. So, as you know, it's that time of the year where we have the Missouri Star Quilt Christmas box, and I have been opening up my box along with Stephanie from Stephanie Stitches and showing you what we got. Well, one of the gifts we got early on was this set of items. There was this pattern, this template, and these lovely fabrics. And it all goes together to create this wall hanging that you see in the picture on the pattern called Snuggly Sweater Wall Hanging. And of course, that's a play on the whole concept of the ugly Christmas sweater. Now, it's a fairly straightforward pattern, but of course it involves applique, and they provided a template, as you can see in the middle of this picture, of a ugly sweater. And the whole idea here is to trace that template out and using some interfacing, some fusible interfacing, draw it all out, cut it out, stick it onto a square of fabric, and you have it done. Now, of course, it's applique, so you're going to want to go around the applique with some stitching, a blanket stitch, a running stitch, whatever suits your fancy. There's a couple of things wrong with this. Oh, and by the way, you're supposed to use the ugly 5-inch charm pack squares to go along with it. I think it's kind of cute. I think it's kind of fun, you know, because we all make jokes about the ugly sweater at Christmas. But back to how I decided to do this pattern. I didn't fancy the idea of having to trace out this pattern or this template and then having to cut all the little sweaters out, because there's a little bit of some, not hard, but, you know, it takes time. It's slow. I'm about speed. So I thought, is there a better way to do this? Now, you know that I do a lot of in the hoop embroidery, and a lot of that does involve applique, but doing applique in an in the hoop project is really easy, because essentially what it is you lay down your fabric, the machine draws a placement line, you put your fabric on top of that, it does something called a tack down stitch, then you take the hoop out of your machine and you trim around that line, and it's very easy if you've got the right equipment for doing that kind of thing, a lot faster than doing it with a pair of scissors and holding the fabric up in your hand. So after you've done that, then all your decorative stitches go on it. It gets a satin stitch or whatever you want around the outside of it, and presto bingo, it's done. So how do I get this template into my computer and into my digitizing software, which, because I'm a Janome guy, I use Artistic Digitizer, Janome's product, and make it create these, as I'll show you here, these. So these are my blocks for this wall hanging. Now, I've taken a little bit of leeway with the design here, but that's okay. I usually do that with the pattern. So here are some of my ugly sweaters. They're the same shape. as the template. But here's what is a little bit nicer about these. If you take a look back here at this picture, you don't really see any cuffs or necklines or hemlines. Now, it looks like on some of these, they have embellished some of the sweaters using some rickrack or ribbon or things like that. Again, my method, I think, is easier. But the hardest part about doing this is actually designing the file. Now, I don't use Artistic Digitizer a lot, but I knew it could do these things. I did spend pretty much the better 3/4 of a day working out this design, but I'm really pleased with myself, and I will say that up front. I'm really pleased with myself that I was able to do this. So how did I do it? Well, first of all, how did I get the template into my computer so I could use it in Artistic Digitizer? Well, that was easy. I just threw it on my printer, my scanner. I scanned in, well, what I did was I basically drew out or traced that template onto a piece of copy paper, put it in the scanner, scanned it, and this is what you got. So that's the basis for this whole project. So once I had that, then it was easy to import it into Artistic Digitizer and adding all the stitches that I wanted. Now, I played around with all of these stitches, and I added the neckline, and I added the cuffs and the waistband on here. I even decided I'd do a little bit of quilting with this, and I did a stippling design all the way around in the block. And this takes some time to digitize this, some trial and error. I think I went through 15 different versions of this until I got the final version that I liked. And some of the things I'm really proud of is how I made this look like wool in the stitching around here. Again, that's just one of the settings in Artistic Digitizer. So the end product of all of this was, of course, what you see here. And I just picked different colors of thread during the sewing out process on the embroidery machine for each sweater. So I have a few more of these to make, and then I will assemble them into what is here. Now I am thinking I might even design the sashing. So there's a little bit, a little bit of a design in the sashing as well. I don't know. I'm still playing with it. But if you have a embroidery machine, and if you have some digitizing software, then you can do these kind of things. And this that I did here could apply to almost any applique project down the road. So I hope maybe that inspires you to try something different on your embroidery machine if you have one. And if you don't have one, you need one. I love my embroidery machine. I have so much fun with that, as you know, because I do a lot, and I've shown them to you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit now about Christmas gift giving, because I know we're all desperately trying to get those Christmas projects done, the quilts, the table runners, all the other things that we want to give to people for Christmas. And yeah, there's another decision we have to make, though, about a lot of these things that we make. And we talk about who we would give a quilt to. Are they quilt worthy? Well, I got thinking about this, and there's a bit of a hierarchy of Christmas gift giving when it comes to our handmade creations, our quilting and sewing creations. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. First of all, I find that you've got to be very, very selective as to who you're going to give something to. But not all people they may be worthy of some of these things, but what level of worthiness are they at? For example, making something for your next door neighbor who you may occasionally talk to when you're out shoveling snow, cutting the grass, walking the dog, or something like that, is very different than somebody that you see on a regular basis who you consider a really close friend. There is a spectrum here, okay? Or degrees of worthiness. Okay, let's say that. Degrees of worthiness. Sounds kind of elitist, doesn't it? But, for example, okay, I made some little, what could be considered Christmas tree ornaments or Christmas bag decorations or gift decorations, little like freestanding lace things. I've shown you my gnomes and that kind of thing. And years in the past, I've showed you the freestanding lace angels and things like that. They're really nice. They're really cute. They take a little bit of time to make, but you can rattle off quite a few of them in a day or two. So those are the kind of things that I would give to people that I don't know that well. As maybe just a little extra with something else I've given them. You know, the kind of thing like a little Christmas bag, not one that you've made. Okay, when you buy it at the dollar store, where you know you're going off to somebody's place for a drink or something like that. They're not necessarily really close friends, or you've been invited to a Christmas party and you don't know everybody there, but you don't want to go empty-handed. These are the kind of things that on a bag with a bottle of wine in it, I would tie one or two of these to the handles of the bag and be done with it. Okay. And then they can use it as a Christmas tree ornament, or they can use it as you can pass it on to somebody else. You don't want a gift or something like that, re-gift it, whatever. So that's, you know, on the low end of the Christmas giving hierarchy. Okay. Now, we might bump it up a bit. Take those and combine them with a tote bag that you have made. And you've seen Walter's tote bags. His Christmas tote bags are definitely designer. And he spends a long time on those. But you know, you can spend an hour making a tote bag, or you can spend several days making a tote bag like Walter does. It depends on how elaborate you want to make them, and that's the beauty of making a Christmas tote bag. It can be something you rattle off very quickly with fabric from your stash. They don't need to be too elaborate, but they're a little nicer than just something that you've thrown in a, you know, a dollar store gift bag or wrapped up or something like that. You might want to attach a couple of those little ornament ideas, freestanding lace things that I've already mentioned to the bag as well. So it elevates whatever you're putting in the bag a little bit more, because in a sense, what's really the gift is not what's in the bag necessarily. Like if you're just taking them a couple of bottles of wine or some chocolate or something like that, well, the bag is probably more exciting. So that would be for somebody that's a little bit more than an acquaintance, but somebody you don't really see maybe a couple of times a year or something like that. And you just want to give them a little something because it's Christmas time. Okay, but then we jump it up to the next level. And this is for somebody that you might see on a more regular basis. You know, a little more than an acquaintance, a little less than a really close friend kind of a deal. But you really feel that, you know, you'd like to give them something. Maybe they have done something for you during the year that you didn't expect, or you know, you went away on vacation, they cut the grass for you or shoveled the snow away from your driveway, something like that. You know, they did something very neighborly, very kind. So that's the kind of people then at that point that I think I would give them you know, some placemats, or maybe some napkins to go with the placemats, the kind of thing. Those again could be as elaborate as you want, or in some ways, if you've got a serger, you can knock off placemats or napkins really fast with some really nice fabric. If you want to get more elaborate, you can layer them with your batting and backing, throw them on your domestic machine and do some walking foot quilting on them, and they all look very nice. And especially if you're giving these to somebody who is not a quilter or sewer, they think they're wonderful. But you know, you didn't spend that much time on it. Now, you want to upgrade that gift a little bit? Make them a tote bag. Add some of those freestanding lace ornaments or whatever as well to it. They will think the world of you, that you thought of this and you took this time to do it. And again, none of this takes a great deal of time, especially if you plan ahead a little bit. You know, you could take a Saturday and knock off a set of placemats and some napkins within that time period easy enough if you're keeping it relatively simple. You know, and there's lots of fabric choices out there for Christmas that look very, very elegant just on their own. You don't need to do any embroidery on them or any other embellishment. So that's easy. Now, I save table runners, though, for people that are more important in my life. Family, close friends, okay? This kind of thing. And I'll often make a table runner and make some matching napkins with it, or placemats, a whole set of things. A little bit more involved because you got to coordinate everything together, and you may want to embellish them even more. So this can become a really nice gift. And you don't have to necessarily think about them as something that has a Christmas design on them. You can go through your stash of fabrics and probably find fabric that would work for almost any season of the year. And sometimes I like to make something that's more specific to Christmas, but they're only going to come out for a short time in the year. You might want to make something that's a little bit more or less special occasion. You could do seasonal. Okay, you could have a winter theme, spring theme, spring, fall, summer, whatever. Or you could just make something that is completely season neutral and could be used all year round. Now, if you know this person well enough, if you've been in their home, you probably have some idea of what kind of colors they like, what their color scheme is in their house, and you could possibly do something that's a little bit more custom as well. Again, this takes a lot more thought than the other things I've mentioned, and so that's why it's elevated up there, because are these people worthy of this, right? Of your time and your effort. So that's another thing. Now, for example, my hairdresser, she isn't a friend per se, but she's more than an acquaintance because I've been going to her for over 30 years, and I see her every 3 weeks. But I've never been over to her house for dinner or anything like that. But she does give me a service. She does a really good job. She's very conscientious. So for her, I made her a table runner and matching napkins. And the table runner is fairly elaborate. And I do know her taste to a certain extent. And so that and Walter, it's all going into one of Walter's custom Christmas bags as well. It's actually sitting back there, just so you can see it peeking up the orange top of it. So yeah, so that's somebody that is a little bit more special and so deserves my time and effort for that. Now, what about wall hangings and quilts? Okay, these are at the top of my list in the hierarchy. You only give a wall hanging or a quilt because of the amount of time it takes you to make these kinds of things to people who are very special in your life. Close friends, close family who appreciate this kind of stuff, though, however. I mean, we all have people in our families who they don't really care about this kind of thing. So again, figuring out whether someone's quilt worthy, right? But they take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and they're one of a kind of a thing. So this is something you want to give to people that will, one, appreciate the effort, appreciate the value, and are, important in your life. So, I save those kind of things for those kind of people. And there are things, too, that you've probably started months ago as well because of the amount of time that it takes to make these kind of things. You're just not going to rattle off, well, some people can, I guess, but I'm going to say for me, I just don't rattle off a quilt on this level in a day. No, regardless of what Eleanor Burns says, quilt in a day. Yeah, no, liar, 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 pants on fire. But anyway, so that's what I'm thinking of this year at Christmas, and I follow this as my guide to gift giving of anything that I've made. So that's the hierarchy. From the very simple to the very complex, you have to decide where people in your life fit on the continuum. Okay, so looking at now a subscriber's quilt of the week, we have seen beautiful creations from this individual before. She's a longtime subscriber to the channel, and that's Teresa DeYoung. And here's her wonderful creation. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from Teresa DeYoung, and we've seen some of her beautiful creations in the past, and this is another one. Now, she didn't write a whole lot about this, but I guess the picture just stands by itself. It doesn't need any explanation. It is beautiful. It is called Alaska, and it's by, and I always say her name wrong, but you'll know who I mean, Idia Sitar. And I have said the name incorrectly, and I know that. She made this, Teresa made this for her great niece Julia, and it is beautiful, and I have always wanted to do one of these patterns. A few years ago I could have taken a class with this, but I didn't feel I had the skill at that time. But now I think I could manage it, and thank you so much, Teresa, for showing this to us, because it is absolutely gorgeous. It is very, very elegant, and I can't really make out the quilting in this picture. I'm looking at it very carefully, but it looks very, very nice. And I'm not sure if you did the quilting yourself or if you had somebody else do it for you. But either way, the whole quilt is beautiful and you should be proud of it. And I am sure your great niece Julia is going to love it for years to come. Thank you for sending that to us, Teresa. Okay, so I am getting a little low. I think I've got enough quilts to show until the end of the year, but the end of the year is approaching very fast. So if you have something that you've created, send me a picture of it. One picture only, please. And 50 words or less, little blurb about it. And I will be more than happy to feature it here on the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube of the week, and we've been talking about gifts. So I came across this particular video, although if you go in and do a YouTube search and put handmade Christmas gifts or sewing gifts or quilting gifts for Christmas 2023, you're going to find all kinds of lists of things. A lot of them repeat themselves, you know, because I mean, there's only so many different things out there you can really make. But this is the 2023 gift guide by Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts. And I know many of you watch her videos. And so here's my review of her list for this year. This week's YouTube video clip comes from Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts, and every year Karen publishes a video talking about her gift guide for quilters, and this year she has the 2023 gift guide up. There are some very interesting ideas in here, as well as a little bit of self-promotion for her cruises, which I suppose you might want to give that to somebody as a gift. I don't know. But nevertheless, there's some great ideas in this particular video, and you can look at her past videos as well from the past years to get even more ideas for giving gifts for quilters. So you may want to check this out. The link is in the show notes, and it's the 2023 Gift Guide for Quilters by Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts. Now, when I planned out this particular episode of the Idiot Quilter and my segment on future projects, I didn't realize that the future project that I picked, I was going to get done. So here's a rarity. You are going to hear about the Starlight Table Runner by Missouri Star Quilt, but you've already seen it completed as well. This week's future project is one that I'm working on right now, and actually I may have shown you it as well. But this is the Starlight Table Runner by Missouri Star Quilt Company, and it is one that I received in the Missouri Star Quilt Christmas box. Hope that's not a spoiler alert. This time of the year, dates get mixed up. But nevertheless, I saw this and I'm thinking about making it. Well, I think I probably have made it and shown it to you. So at the time when I was looking at this, I thought this would be a great little gift to give to our next door neighbors. It's not my usual color scheme, but it did come in the Christmas box with the charm pack that you need to make it. Now, I searched on the Missouri Star Quilt website to see if this pattern is purchasable, and at the time of recording I could not find it, so I have a feeling that because this is part of the Christmas box, they haven't put it up yet. They're probably waiting until into the new year, after everybody's got their boxes and people have seen what's in the boxes, then they'll probably put this up for sale on their site. Don't know, I'm just conjecturing here. But nevertheless, it looks really nice. It's made with stars. I love stars, and I could see doing this in different colorways as well. It would make a great Christmas table runner too, if you did it in Christmas fabrics. And who knows, I might just do that as well. We'll see. But in the meantime, here it is. I think it's great. Check it out. If you didn't get the Missouri Star quilt box, check in the new year and you might be able to pick up this pattern from their website. So usually in this spot in the episode, I would be talking about an interview that's coming up. Well, I don't have one coming up. I've had some people give me some suggestions, and I have been investigating those as well. And thank you for the suggestions. I always appreciate it. But I haven't, and I had a couple of feelers sent out, but I've had no answer from those individuals. So either they're just not getting my message or they're not interested, whatever. And I'm going to put doing an interviews for this month on hold. When we get past the Christmas and New Year's season and everything, when things slow down to normal again, then I'll probably start investigating some other people that I could possibly interview. People are too busy right now for this kind of thing. And I'm also very busy. So yeah, so I'm taking a little break from that for now. But that doesn't mean you can't keep sending me your suggestions. Just please remember, if they are somebody who is very, very popular on YouTube, I probably am not going to interview them because everybody knows who they are already. And two, they're probably extremely busy and that I probably will never hear from them. Okay? But, you know, send whatever you want to send and I'll investigate it further. Okay, so that takes me to the online quilt store of the week. Now, I think I may have talked about this a couple of years ago, this particular online store. They do not have a brick and mortar store. They are here in Canada, of course, because all of the stores that I review are online in Canada. And it's called the Lindley General Store. Now, I don't think I ever did an actual video about them. I may have, I can't remember. But you know, I keep a list, but they're not on my list. But I didn't always keep a list. So they may have been from the time before I started keeping track of which ones I had talked about. So if this is a repetition for you, I apologize. You probably don't remember. I don't. But then again, I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Did I have anything? I don't know. Anyways, here's my review of Lindley General Store. This week's online quilt store is called Lindley General Store. It is located in Ontario, Canada. However, they do not have a brick and mortar store. They're strictly online. And I have ordered from them several times in the past, and I really love their customer service, and I do like this online store. I should go back to it and order some things again. But in the meantime, let's see what they have to offer. This is the front page of their website, and they're showing some of their new patterns or new fabrics that they have. They tell you a little bit about their online store, and they have a list of their new arrivals and what's on sale right now. Actually, that's a pretty good price. I believe those prices are for half a meter. Let's just see. Yeah, they go by yards. Okay, one strike against them. I like it in meters. It's Canadian. We do deal in metric. And you've heard me say that many times before. But for half a yard on sale of the Stonehenge Graduations, which is a really popular line of fabric, that's pretty good. $7.31, so that's what, almost just slightly under $15 a yard. So that's a pretty good price, but that's on sale. So let's go up here and let's check out their other fabrics. Get this to pull down. Okay. Fabric by the half yard, pre-cut bundles, batting and stabilizer. Okay, let's go here to fabric. And availability, I'm not sure what that means. In stock, $20.49. So you can click on that and you'll know what they have in stock rather than hitting, you know, sold out or something like that. You can do it by color. You can do it by brand. And they have quite a variety of brands here, and product type. And that's all fabric. Okay, size. 36-inch book panel. Okay, so let's take a look at something like Timeless Treasures, because I really like Timeless Treasures fabrics. Yeah, $7.35 for and up to $7.75. So we're just talking under $16 on average per yard. That is a good price. That is a good price. Let's check out Three Wishes because I like them as well. And price range is about the same there too. Let's go for something that's more, you know, mainstream, like Michael Miller. Or no, let's do Northcott. They have a lot of Northcott. Okay, Northcott. It looks like it ranges at about $14.10 a meter up to about $17.50 a meter. That's all still really good price and good selection too of fabric. So that's quite impressive. Now they did show some other things here. Let's look at their batting. No, let's look at their pre-cuts first. And what do they have to choose from? They have fabric bundles, pre-cuts, quilt kits. Let's look at their pre-cuts. Price-wise, and well, do they have a lot to choose from? Doesn't say here how much, but I'll just scan down. Yeah, they don't have a lot to choose from in pre-cuts. Some standard ones in jelly rolls. Seems to be a lot of jelly rolls, and they have this one charm pack. I know there's another charm pack as well, but it's wool. Okay, so really not much of a selection there. Now I don't know if it's just because of the time of the year, or it's you know, this is what they usually have. I have no idea. Okay, let's go back up here to shop again, and let's see if we can. Okay, I didn't want to get into that. I'm finding their interface a little awkward. Okay, like I don't like these pop-up windows that come here. Yeah, so how do I get thread? I'm a little confused. All right, I saw thread amount. Okay, let's go to the quilt shop. Okay, we can do that. So what have they got in terms of thread? They have thread in this category under notions, and they also have thread here, bobbin thread, hand quilting thread, machine embroidery thread, machine quilting thread, multi-purpose thread, piecing thread. Okay, let's go to piecing thread and see what brands they carry. They have Aurifil. Good. $20.95, $19.50. Okay, the Aurifil is on the upper end in price range. So no real bargains there. Okay, let's take a look at batting. And how do they sell batting? Well, we don't know yet. They have interfacing, they have stabilizers, they have filling. All yardage is sold in half-yard increments. Okay, bunch of things sold out here. 108 inch is $6.95, so that's $14, roughly $14 a yard. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's okay. Well, they have 124-inch wide batting, warm and natural. That's expensive because remember they said it's by half a yard, so it's $30 half a yard for that. But the warm and natural batting does tend to be more expensive. 96-inch wide batting, $425. It's a Quilter's Touch, that's polyester. And Hobbs's wide batting, heirloom premium unbleached cotton, $625. Well, that's not too bad either, but it's sold out. So everything's sold out by the looks of things, with the exception of the 96-inch wide polyester. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Kawartha Quilting for my batting. Okay. Anything else in the quilt shop we want to take a look at? Okay, I wish this would stay up here. There we go. I guess you have to click on it. They have other notions, of course. And let's see what they have under notions. Not much. Seam ripper, pins, needles, fabric marker, thread. Okay, is this... They have thread in two categories. Machine quilting thread. What brand are they carrying here? It's Aurifil. Okay. And they have larger cones of it at $48.95. Yep, they're a little pricey on the thread. Okay. So they have other tools and accessories, cutting mats, etc. They have quilting books. They have quilt patterns. Yeah, okay. I would expect all that's just a standard price. Okay, sewing supplies though. So they go a little bit more. They do call themselves a general store, and so they sell just not quilting products, but they sell sewing supplies, as you can see here. They have fabric by collections. Okay, the interface for finding things is a little repetitive, and I find that a little confusing. They do have knitting and crocheting supplies, cross stitch and sashiko, and then they have craft supplies, which I think is very interesting as well. So they have macrame and beads and puzzles, and they even have paper goods. They have journals and notebooks. They have cards, pens and pencils, gift tags, things like that. So they are as they say, a general store when it comes to sewing, quilting, and other craft supplies. Shipping, let's see what they charge for shipping. I believe they ship probably by okay, I wish those wouldn't pop around. Okay, why is doing this? Okay, there we go. I find their interface a little tricky to maneuver. So shipping. As of 15th of October 2022, we will no longer offer free shipping. Okay, so no free shipping. Flat rate for orders over $95 Canadian will continue. Okay, so if it's under $95, it's calculated at checkout. Okay, it's coming by Canada Post, no, Canada Post, Pure Layer, UPS, and Canpar. So yeah, I guess you can't figure it out until you go to checkout. Now they do, if it's over $95 Canadian though, in Ontario it's $5. If it's in Quebec it's $5. The rest of Canada is $10. And in the USA, they ship to the USA, it's $10 flat rate. So it's not hard to get over $95, as we well know. If it's over 1,000, well, if it's over 1,000, then you're rich. Now it says if a shipping rate costs more than $25 Canadian, we reserve the right to request you pay an additional 50% of the shipping rate. I'm not sure what that means. If a shipping rate costs us more than $25 Canadian, we reserve the right to request you to pay an additional 50% of shipping rate. So I guess on a really large order, you know, it like batting or something like that, it could be more than that. So that's how they calculate their shipping. And picking it up is by appointment only, and they're in the Meaford area. Okay, so yeah, so I don't see anything else. They don't run classes, of course, because they do not have a brick and mortar facility. So, and it doesn't look like they have online classes or things like that. But they do have a little bit more than just sewing and quilting supplies. So they truly are an online general store. So that's Lindley General Store. I have to say that anything that I have ordered from them has come very quickly. I've been very pleased with it. Their prices on their fabric are good. Some of their other items like thread, etc., are a little bit on the high side. But I've also found their customer service excellent as well. So that's Lindley General Store. So, what's coming up? Well, we're getting ready for Georgia. We are only how many sleeps away before? Let's see. Christmas Day's the 25th. This is the 12th at time of recording. That means 13 days. 13 days from now, which is Christmas Day, we are on the road on Christmas Day on our first leg of our journey to Georgia for Stephanie Stitch's retreat. And definitely getting excited about that, getting some things ready. And one of the things that I'm getting ready, I'll show you a picture of them underneath my Christmas tree, are all those bags. Those are all going to Georgia with us because they are gifts for everybody that is going to be at the Georgia retreat. And I'm excited to give these to people. I hope they'll be excited to receive them. I've spent some time, a lot of time actually, working on these. I didn't just start those yesterday. I started these pretty much the week after Walter and I decided we were going to go to Georgia, and we signed up for it. And that was in, I think, January when we did that. Yeah, almost a year ago. Wow. And this has really consumed me through this year in terms of, thinking of things to make, and then I think of something else and get working with that. And I've enjoyed every step of it. I do. So anyways, I thought, well, I'll put them out here underneath my Christmas tree because that's the only thing I have under my Christmas tree. There's a couple of little gifts underneath the tree. You see they're wrapped up. Those were bought at the dollar store. They're pre-wrapped boxes. I just put them there for decoration. So those bags are all there, and they add a little something to my Christmas tree area. So, yeah, we're getting ready for that. I'm making lists of the things that I need to not forget to take to Georgia. It's going to be strange leaving on Christmas Day, but it's not the first time we have not been home on Christmas Day. We've been on other trips. One year we were in Fort Lauderdale for Christmas at a resort. Another year we were actually in Sydney, Australia. Just got off a cruise from New Zealand to Australia. And so we spent Christmas there. So, we've done it before. And it used to be when I was I can get that off there, when I was younger and when, my parents were still alive. My sister and brother had, young families and everything like that. I did not want to be away from home on Christmas Day because I want to be with family. However, as it does happen over time, family situations alter, change. The kids grow up. Sadly, we lose people as well. So there isn't a whole lot holding me here. As long as I'm with Walter, that's my family. As long as we're together, we can spend Christmas anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be here. So, yeah. So, our Christmas is going to be with our friends and the new friends we're going to meet in Georgia. So, that's exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah. And I have been asked, will there be some live videos from there? We're going to try. We're going to give it a try. So, stay tuned. Okay. I hope you have a great week. I hope you're getting everything for Christmas all done and prepared so you can have a little bit of a downtime during the holiday season. And yeah, have a great week, and we'll see you all later. Bye for now.